In this video, I'm going to tell you about how I learned to speak 5 languages, including my mother tongue, or more precisely, how I did not learn to speak 5 languages. Then, using GrammarBud, we are going to practice the present perfect with the prepositions for and since. But why do I want to practice with GrammarBud? I believe, and I'm even convinced, that GrammarBud offers a solution to those of us who are good at reading and understanding English, but are not happy with how fluently and correctly we speak. When people ask me what languages I speak, sometimes I say that I can speak 5 languages. Actually, I have a university degree in English translation and interpreting, and a master's degree from the University of London in psychology. I have an advanced level certificate in German and an intermediate certificate in French. My 5th language, Spanish, I studied for 7 years. This may sound like bragging, but just wait until I get to my point. The thing is that despite these degrees and certificates, I'm not at all satisfied with the way I can speak these languages. In other words, I cannot express myself as well as I can understand the written and spoken word. My active skills, such as speaking and writing, lag far behind my passive skills, such as reading and listening comprehension. But what explains this wide gap between my active and passive skills? Well, 90% of the work I have put into studying these languages was taking place through what I call passive learning processes. What are these passive learning processes? They are, for example, reading and translating text, doing listening exercises, looking at tables, summing up conjugations and grammar rules, or filling in gaps in sentences in exercise books. And even if I wrote complete sentences, there was no one around to check my answers. And if you don't get immediate feedback, then you are bound to make the same mistake over and over again. But how far have these passive learning methods taken me? Well, thanks to reading a lot in the original, I have become really familiar with the literature of these languages. Being a translator, I would undertake to do a translation on any topic from any of these languages into my native Hungarian. I'm a pretty good listener too. I mean, my listening skills are pretty good too. I'm a pretty good listener means something like, I like to listen to people sharing with me their stories and worries. Whereas I have good listening skills means that I get the meaning quite well when I'm listening to an English speaker. Why am I complaining? When I bump into my German neighbor in the street and she wants to start a chat, I speak extremely slowly and I get really embarrassed. When I asked a passerby in the streets of Paris about the way, she felt so sorry for me that she switched into English, which the French normally never do. You might ask, but can't you try to speak a bit faster? Well, I can, but then I make a lot of mistakes, which I hate to do. You might think that this is only happening to this poor woman. Well, the bad news is that this is more or less the same process that's happening to all learners of languages. Only the skills that we practice actively develop or grow, and the skills we don't practice don't develop at all. And this is all based on scientific evidence. Brain research has shown that in our brain, one system is responsible for reading, another one for writing, and still another one, a different system, a different area in your brain is responsible for reading. Meant to say speaking, of course. What can we conclude from this? What conclusion can we draw from all this? Well, the conclusion is quite simple. If you want to get better at reading, then you should do a lot of reading. And if you want to become a more fluent speaker, you should practice speaking, you should do a lot of spoken or oral exercises. But how can you practice speaking English at home when there's no one around who can check whether what you say makes sense, whether your pronunciation is okay, whether you are not making huge grammatical mistakes? Well, This is where GrammarBud comes into the picture.
How long have you been at the company?
I've been at the company since 2010.
I've been at the company since 2010. How long have you waited?
I have waited for 2 hours.
I've waited for 2 hours.
With GrammarBud, you can listen to 1,000 questions, and you can answer these questions by saying your answers out loud. GrammarBud will record and type your answers. Then it will check your answers, and if they are correct, it will move to the next question. This is a targeted way of practicing training the speech center in your brain. Each exercise is built around the same point of grammar, and each exercise has about 15-20 sentences in which you practice the same point of grammar in different contexts. By repeating these structures in various contexts, they will become automatic and you can say them correctly in your everyday conversation. Practice makes perfect. Let's now practice the use of the present perfect when we want to say how long or since when an action has taken place or something has been the case. To do so, you can use 2 different time expressions. When you refer to a duration, you will use for and a period of time. And when you refer to the starting point, you will use since and a point in time. In these examples, the present perfect refers to a duration. For a long time, for 3 years, for several months, for 3 weeks, for a while. I haven't seen her for ages. In these examples, the present perfect refers to a point in time. Since Monday, since 2019, since I was 5, since the beginning, since February. I haven't seen her since we were 6. Let's do the exercise now on the GrammarBud website. First, type in the URL for the website, grammarbud.com. On the landing page, click on the Start Learning button or the screen on the right-hand side, which will lead you to a menu of all the grammar points you can choose from. Click on the button for present perfect for or since, and you get to the examples.
How long have you lived in London? I've lived in London for 3 years. How long has he lived in Japan? He's lived in Japan since 2015.
I have understood the example, and I will click on Got It to start building sentences.
How long have you lived in London?
I've lived in London for 3 years.
I've lived in London for 3 years. How long has he lived in Japan?
He's lived in Japan since 2015. GrammarBud didn't get my pronunciation. I'll give it another try, saying the sentence more slowly and more clearly. I shall click on the microphone button. He has lived in Japan since 2015.
He's lived in Japan since 2015. How long have you played the piano?
I've played the piano since I was 5. I've played the piano since I was 5.
I've played the piano since I was 5.
Third time lucky.
Have they been married?
They have been married for 13 years.
They've been married for 13 years. How long have you known each other?
We've known each other for 3 years.
We've known each other for 3 years. How long have you been friends?
We've been friends for 10 years.
How long have you been retired?
I've been retired since February.
I've been retired since February. How long has she been away?
She's been away since Monday.
She's been away since Monday.
But the test of the pudding is in the eating. Do you know this saying? So let's now practice on the GrammarBud website the present perfect, and let me know in the comments below if you've tried the exercise on grammarbud.com and how it went. If you liked this video, please subscribe and share. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!